Do older workers work harder? Some bosses think so. Your thoughts, Michael?
I think this is a pretty odd blanket statement to make, but I can
I'll
see...
I'll answer it. The answer is no.
Yeah.
They don't.
Certain people work harder than others.
Yes. I will say that older workers often have different availability than younger workers that allows them to work different hours more easily. Okay? As an example, let's say that you are a retail establishment, okay, and you have someone who is 35 with 2 kids working there. Mm-hmm. Going to be a little bit more challenging for that person to close down the store than someone who is 60 with kids already out of the house.
True.
Okay.
But I think what part of this article is pointing towards is that there, among certain sectors, has been a desire for younger employees to work there, based primarily on an assumption about technical skills. And this points out that, hey, yeah, that may be the case, but, older generations may have different priorities, different availabilities, and, frankly, even when you poll them about things like work ethic and how important it is, they tend to poll higher than other generations. I don't know that...
I'm calling baloney on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's why. There is well documented, you can go back through the last 150 years of U.S. newspapers, and every 5 years, not every 5... But you could probably find a piece from every year about, gee, these kids are so lazy and they don't want to work. Well, let me tell you, the people who are 65 right now...
We're called that.
40 years ago, they were called the generation that was lazy that doesn't want to work. You want to know why I know that? Because they were the freaking hippies.
Yeah.
Okay? No one ever looked at the hippies and said, man, that's a bunch of hard-working people who are really out to just, work hard at the expense of, the rest of their life. No, people called the hippies lazy.
Yeah.
And now the exact same people who were the hippies were saying, well, they just want to work harder than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Those things can't Here's how I think it generally works. When you are in your 20s, you are much more flighty than you are when you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Mm-hmm. Okay? It is not a generational thing. It is simply a growing up thing. I would not hire...
But that's my point, is that it's an age-based thing. It doesn't mean it's because of boomers versus millennials or Gen Zers. It is an age thing. You may value hard
but I feel
work.
like people view it as
Probably.
a generation thing.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, the young kids don't work as hard as my generation does. Okay, how much work were you doing when you were at Woodstock? You were covered in poop just like the rest of them.
So...
I watched the documentary.
A few interesting points.
We had our own Woodstock. It was destructive. Like every generation goes through these things.
A few interesting
points.
That's my point. People 55 and older, currently the fastest growing segment of the workforce. I find that interesting. That's relatively new. And I would just generally say the number of jobs that are out there that are part of our economy where it is really crucial to be the most up-to-date on the new cutting-edge technology maybe represents 2% of our workforce.
And as I said yesterday, I think companies in general undervalue the experience of having worked in the workforce for 30-plus years.
Yeah. So that guy doesn't know how to use Salesforce, but the Gen Zer you just hired doesn't know how to use the photocopier. So pick your battle.
No one is born knowing how to use anything, okay? All of us accumulate knowledge over time, and I do think that if you want to make a case for employing more older workers, it's not that they work harder than younger people. It's that the accumulated life experience has real value, in my opinion. I know this because I've seen it, okay? So do, baby boomers work harder than millennials? No, they don't. There are different points in their lives. I would imagine that if you had a graph of lifetime productivity, it looks the same for just about every generation.
Probably.
You're really unproductive when you're 23. You're probably most productive at 52. Because your kids are gone, but you're still, you got enough energy. And you're probably least productive when you die.
Okay.
That's probably how it goes. It's like a
bell curve.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at productivity over human lifetimes, it is a bell curve.
Incredibly unproductive for the first 7 years.
With a slight left-hand skew. Yeah. Because
when does it hit the below toe? That's what I want to know.
Productivity never below toes.
Okay.
No, it never does. It starts at 0, goes up the roller coaster hill, comes down and flattens when you die. That's how it moves.